My name is Edouard Duval-Carrié. I'm a Haitian-American artist born in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince. Both members of my family, their families have been in Haiti since probably the revolution. One time I was looking at the papers and they had printed the descendancy of Toussaint Louverture, and I was on the last page somewhere there. So I was very pleased that I descend, from that serious lineage. My grandmother was half German. She married I think he was an engineer that was on his way to work at the Panama Canal. And he stopped in Haiti and married the local beauty. So my grandmother was half German, but she was as Haitian as anybody else. From my mother's side, we have a very illustrious kind of past. We are a descendant of General Bernard Carrié, who was the governor of the Dominican Republic when Haiti invaded the Dominican Republic. The Carrié family is from Port-au-Prince. Meanwhile, the Duval family is from Miraguan. My grandmother always said that we live in a country, and if we don't know the people, we might as well leave. It was good that my German grandmother, that's what she thought. She would hire mules and carry not only the personnel, like the maids, like the brother of the maids. I mean, it was like a campaign. People, and took from two families, the kids of two families, and the parents stayed. So we were alone with our maids and my grandmother. So we would go and live in a peasant's house. They would rent us the house for the whole summer, and we were like little kids, like no shoes, half naked, like everybody else. To me, it's like a mythical kind of thing because I never knew where I was. I was just propped up on a mule and off for 3 hours into the mountain. To me, they're my people. So. And to know them in the interior like that, to see how they lived. They lived, literally. And it was like nowhere else like that. It was not urban at all, with candles and like little kerosene lamps. Everybody to sleep at 6 o'clock and wake up at 5. And I really enjoyed it. And I keep those pictures when I was tiny. My sister sent me a bunch of them, because she liked photographing, my grandmother. A bit strange, but very interesting. What I got from her was, like a deep respect for everybody in Haiti. People in Port-au-Prince think they are like either better off or than the rest, So she wanted us to know that this country is very complex, there's all types of people in it, and you have to know them all. And if you really want to know the Haitians, you have to live with them. And that's what she instilled in us. It was very interesting. I never forgot those. I can see them, like I'm running around, like in the cornfields. Don't step on the melon. Don't step on this. Watch out, And so you learn these little things, They were hosting us. So, and they always, were polite and they were lovely. And we assisted like death, we had to go to the funeral. After that, we moved to Puerto Rico, and that was, another lesson, that the world is much bigger than Haiti too. One day, my father decided, that, he wanted to return to Haiti. The same way he took the whole family to Puerto Rico, the same way he returned us to Port-au-Prince. And of course, it was problematic because, we had lost the French, so we spoke more English and stuff like that. And they said, well, we're not going to send you to school in France. And you're not going to stay here, we're going to want you to go abroad. So we went to this school called the Union School, which is the only American school in Haiti. That was another shock, you understand? To see, how half foreigners, there's always these kind of enclaves in countries like Haiti. They had one in Puerto Rico. They had, I mean, everywhere I've been, I've seen those kind of things, either French enclave or American enclave, where, you know, like the kids of people working at the embassies or in whatever functions they are sends their kids. So you get to know them. When I was a kid, I was just enjoying, you know, like this idyllic kind of, you know, like very down to earth and, you know, like very simple. And suddenly I come and I realize that there's a lot of strife and it's a hard place, you know, like, and I was suddenly reduced to, you know, like a class that I supposedly belonged to, and that I had to conform with that, whatever that class was, and I really did not like that. I decided that I was going to look into more, you know, like more Haitian things. I mean, what did I like about the place? Because most of what I saw, it was very unnerving, to put it mildly. Not that I didn't like it, but it was, you know, like challenging. We ate 3 times a day when most people don't. And why? You know, simple questions, you know, like that. I would ask my mother, you know, I mean, like, why don't we have these people sit at our tables? We have plenty of food. No, you don't do that. I mean, it's this kind of modus operandi that that you had to conform with. I didn't like it, and I decided to really study what did I like. So I got introduced to the Centre d'Art very early on, and I decided to go and take classes. I was not even interested. I didn't even know what art was, but somehow this was a cool place, you know, like from what I understood, it was an interesting place, and I loved the work that I was seeing there. So I asked my parents, could I go and take classes there? And they said, sure, you know, like, so off I went and took classes with Rigaud Benoit, I mean, major artists. And they gave classes, you know, like, I mean, like any cultural center. It was a cultural center that was formed by, under different premises. From one of the guys that had formed it was an American, a conscientious objector. I mean, you know, like a few crazy intellectual Haitians. I mean, a very, you know, like very different group of people, not your usual. So I really enjoyed it and met really the first wave of Haitian artists. I met, you know, like all the big names, you know, like, I mean, I didn't manage to meet, what's his name, Hector Hippolyte, because he was already dead. But the rest, I met them all. And I really liked them. I want to be like them, you know? That's what I wanted to do. I mean, I was not going to look at Picasso or anything like that, you know? I mean, that did not interest me. I was more interested in what was, you know, like in what they were portraying. So I found, I mean, talking to them, I found out another level of, you know, like of Haitian culture. They called them primitives or whatever, but that's the last thing they were, you know, like they were quite knowledgeable and they knew what they were talking about and they knew what they wanted to say. And they had a great humor. And they were great people, you know. I'm very fond of that period of Haitian art, and people think I'm like a bit weird. It's not that I'm nostalgic. I've always said that they were the best. And, you know, I can remember when I presented my first exhibit in Port-au-Prince, the neighbor to the Centre d'Art was a major radio speaker. So he showed up. I could see him scratching his, you know, and he said, I want you to listen what I'm going to say in the radio this afternoon. He went on for 2 hours explaining each work because he thought that what he said at the beginning, he says, you won't believe what I saw today. I saw a young urban mulatto, you know, like playing the peasant. I was furious with him. You know, I said, you know, how dare you call these people? Because in Haiti, calling somebody a peasant is almost like an insult. Why did you say that? Have you met them? Have you spoken to them? You know, like to declare that these people are either, you know, like illiterate or whatever. These people are more literate than you, for example. And, I mean, he didn't say it nastily, but, you know, I just couldn't believe that he would use those terms. that I was playing. My introduction to art in Haiti was not the usual. I was part of a camp that did not exist. I was looking at my people, and I was looking at them carefully and seriously. To them, like, what is he doing? I'm still at it today. I have great respect for what happened then, and what I realized, and I have to explain that, how particular that place was, the Centre d'Art. It was formed, and it was truly the only institution that was almost democratic. Anybody could walk in and do their thing. And probably that's why the people that got there first were really interested, because they didn't go out hiring. They did go out scouting to see, like, what was happening around. And that's how they found Hector Hippolyte. He was like a painter, like painting signs in Saint-Marc. It's not even in Port-au-Prince, in a little town, so they went to see him, and they invited him to come, and he came, and he became like the sensation. Like, not only in Haiti, well, not really in Haiti, but worldwide. And then the whole group that followed, like, were all of them the same kind of, like, they were just artists. Like, they had to express themselves. They didn't even think that they could make any money doing anything like that. So they just did it. And when they heard of the place, they just gravitated to it, because that's what they really were. They were real artists. They were not just there to do, like, business or try to, like, try to make a living out of it. That's not who, none of them were like that. They just wanted to express themselves. And they all did in a each one was as different from the other. There was not the Haitian school. These guys were not into any schools. They were not into anything except expressing themselves. And they came out with things that were just like, oh my God. I just curated an exhibit in Tampa, and if you have a chance, you should visit it. It's this collector that went down to Haiti in the late 50s, and he was wealthy enough, and he bought a lot of work and donated the work to the Tampa Museum, which accepted it, because he's not even from Tampa, he's from LA or San Francisco. I mean, nobody wanted it, And the museum accepted it, and they called me and they asked me, would you like? I said, I would love to see them. I don't care about curating or organizing anything for you. I just want to see what has not been available to me to see from this generation. And I chose 27 out of the 90 that were just like to die. I mean, if I could take the whole lot and run and steal them, that's what I would have done. Some of them were not in good shape. So what they found some money, and they repaired them. They look as if they just came out of the studios of these artists. They are like brand new. They were shocked. They said, are these the paintings that you showed? I said, yes. They fixed them, and look at them. They're like delighted. Because really it was a moment in Haitian art. And one has to really make sure that people understand that, And truly, it was the only place where they could, people came to appreciate it. And that was the first time they could do that, and they were they were not taken off by businessmen trying to sell the art. It was at the beginning, so it was more genteel. Now it's like an artist shows up, everybody wants him, and they bring him. Back then it was a different story. And these artists were like really brilliant. And I decided that I wanted to be just like them. Well, not in the sense that I would copy them or anything like that, but just their interest in to see how their vision is about a place where they live. And that's what I do myself. And it can be anything, what you know, what you learn, what you are interested in. And these guys were interested in all sorts of things. Hippolyte was very interested in it. He was creating the visuals of the voodoo spirits. They didn't have, 2 million years of people doing it before them. It's just, he was looking into his head to see what he could make out of, how could he present what he thought and what he believed in, you know? So when you see the work, you're just like, they're like strong. And they all came out with their own, how would I say it? Their own discourse, their own vocabulary, their own, like way of doing things. And they chose their paints. They like it was like they were like self-made like artists. They didn't go to school or anything like that, but they were very articulate. When it was about their art, they just knew what they were doing. It was a strong moment in Haitian art. And if people didn't catch that, of all the artists that are my generation, very few of them. I think I'm the only one that went, like a different way. They're all, the star at the same time as Hippolyte was somebody like Wilfredo Lam. So there are a bunch of mini Wilfredo Lams in the Port-au-Prince. They all want to look like contemporary Cuban art, That's what they were following. And I was not. I was looking at my people. They had a sense of color. They had a sense of the way they were like very modern in their way because they were like nobody else. And I said, why should I go to somebody else, than them when I have it at home? What really annoys me is when they tell me that these guys were not educated. And because it's a big thing in the art world. You have to be able to express yourself and things like that. Oh yes, I can express. So they think I'm like faking it. Sometimes I see them looking at me and I'm saying, they didn't understand it, like that I do like them, like what's there not to like? Explain to me what's there not to like. Go and look at the work and you see that, like it's just as good as anybody else. In that museum, they have very nice things from everywhere. It's a big museum. But when you look at those things from Haiti, you say, okay, they're good. When I was in New York, there's 2 Hippolytes in the MoMA. And they are gorgeous. They're just like, oh, wow. They're old. They're like 60, 70 years old. And you can see, like, okay, this guy's got it. By being true to the people of Haiti. Everybody thinks they are the people of Haiti. Everybody thinks they are the people. But I'm talking about the people of Haiti. What they've went through, the slaves, those are the people from Haiti. That managed to stand up to the most extraordinary army of their time, the French army, which was, like on its path to occupy the whole of Europe. This guy was like Napoleon. Everybody loved him. I don't know why. The guy was like, just as, like Hitler. He was a little dictator. And plus very violent. I don't see what there is to, France thinks he's like, anyways. Haiti made him regret his ways. That's what he said on his deathbed. I wish I had done differently with that place. Because he met with people that were very, very, determined. Why are we in this position? We don't like it, point. And they went at it and they won. At great cost. Unfortunately, there's not very many institutions, but there are institutions in Haiti that provide avenues for young kids. And also, bizarrely, I found out something. When I was in Haiti, one day they invited me to attend the readings of scholars. When when you arrive at your last year of high school, you have to do a presentation to, especially if you at the university in Haiti. And I attended one. I could not believe what was going on there. These are kids that were brought up in Haiti, studied in Haiti, and you had all the major universities from not only the United States, Germany, France, and Spain. They had sent emissaries to listen to them, and they would give them scholarships to continue. I was like, oh my God. More foreigners listening. They were the best of the best. And people know, I mean, like intelligence and stuff like that is given to everyone. And just gives them, you know, like, I mean, some are more blessed than others, that's for sure. But, you know, like if you have it and you give it to people, they will become something. The general idea is not that. I mean, it's like, I'm tired. I mean, we're 2000 what, and there's still people thinking like that. It's pathetic. You know, they're shooting themselves, you know, like in the foot by putting barriers and the arts is the same. It's a profession, I think, or it's a calling or whatever you want to do. I mean, determine what it is, but it's part of, you know, like of the social contract that you live in. I mean, that's what I know right now. I've done my whole life within that, so I have to justify it. Well, that's one thing that probably I do differently than in Haiti, because yes, I love these things, but I'm very curious myself. And I was given scholarships here and there, and I really use them. And the materials to me are essential. And maybe more, like most artists, that whatever they had, they used. And me, whatever instruction I got, I used. And I'm very curious about world art as well. I'm not just, you know, like people think that I'm, oh yes, I hate it. No, yes, I am, but not, to me, it's one of the subjects, you know, and which I take pride in studying and expressing myself or my opinions of it. But there are other things that interest me as well. And also materials are very, I mean, as you can see, there's like an array of different techniques, and I want to try them, all of them. You know, I want to try everything. So I'm like very prolific, and also very and also I love to work in projects. Like, for example, a museum comes and asks me to give a point of view, or I decide that I'm going to do this group of works that, you know, like that tells me stories, but in layers like these, you know, like, and it's many layers, you know, like, and you can see history through it, you know, I mean, just because everything is in layers. I mean, so I knew how to use the material, so I played with its, I pushed it to its capacity. I never learned how to engrave. So I decided one day, somebody just mentioned, you know, like, oh, you know, like you can make money out of making, you know, like engravings, you can make multiples and stuff like that. I said, okay, let me try that. I hate the multiple part of making it. So all of these engravings, I could make thousands of copies by just using them as plates but I don't like it. So what you get is the original. And that's what interests me. The only one. Do you like that? Do you like that? Huh? Everybody, oh, you're gonna make so much money. They are just making the copies. First of all, you don't want to do it because it's boring. You're just doing, it's generic. And then, you know, like whatever for. It takes you as long to do the original than to do the copies. I said, I'm going to sell the copies as much as I mean, to me, it takes a long time. The excitement has gone after you finished it. You know, because I mean, you artists work alone all the time. You're all alone, and you know, like you have to push yourself. You have to do this. And if it's boring on top of it all, you don't want to do it. Point. It's as simple as that. You have to be motivated. So, I mean, I choose for example, why I started doing the printing is a very interesting story. I was, because I have an affiliation with Brown University, I taught there a little bit. So, I mean, I was friendly with some professors that work with Africa. And one of them, a very good friend of mine, very important thinker, Caribbean from Jamaica. Do you know Tony Boggs? Anthony Boggs. He was assistant to Manley. So, I mean, he's top mind from Jamaica. Anyways, he teaches at Brown and he says, I think you should go to South Africa. And I said, why? He says, well, they're very curious because did you realize that they were the latest Black republic and that you are the first Black republic? So they've asked me to ask you to give your vision of your history, of your country. So so I said, how am I going to do that? You know, so I decided to go into something that they read very well because of the anti-apartheid movement. I mean, you go to South Africa, nobody paints. Everybody knows how to make engravings and to print because that was the way the information was. I mean, they didn't read I mean, I don't know what their papers are, you know, like to get the news because those were not the news. The news were the ones they were making. So, and they would do quick. I mean, they had to do it quick. They had to make it lots of them. So they were like ambulant, you know, like kind of, and everybody knows how to make it. It's amazing. I mean, everybody does. I mean, you know, like in Haiti, everybody seems to, they know how to paint. And over there, they know how to engrave. I went there and I said, I want to learn how to do it. And that's where I learned it. And that's how I started. In the French, I always have, like their ways, I mean, they want to put order in whatever. So, I mean, they offer me a scholarship to go there. I mean, I'm already in my 30s. I'm not spring chicken, and they want me to go to school. I said, okay. I said, that's the only way we can do it. I mean, you offer me something, you want me there, and then you give me imposition and what. Anyways, I decided to quiet down, and I said, maybe I can learn something. I went to the Beaux-Arts in Paris, which is like, the guy looked at me, the director, the dean of the school looked at me, said, you want to teach? I said, that's not what the immigration told me here. First of all, I don't see why I'm like going to immigration when I'm a guest. He says, they want you to come here? I said, they're going to call you. But I came in advance to see what this was, like I asked to see you and stuff like that. So I said I wanted to learn new materials. And that's how come I learned about plastics and all of these things. I learned how to make molds, and the show that I did in Paris had all of these things that I learned in situ, and I just worked with it. All of these things inform one's work. I won a major contract for the city, and it's for the new courthouse, and I've got the lobby. And they're going to be too gigantic. That's why I didn't do anything this year, because I'm like still in shock that first of all, they gave me this project, and second, the scale of it. 2 paintings that are 30 feet tall, so that means 3 times the height of this by 12 feet. And I wanted, because my project was just as inventive as those people from Benin. I told the judges that I told the whole story, just like that. I was not aware that the Everglades is the biggest water filter on the planet. And it's written, that's the first sentence. You go to Wikipedia or whatever, Everglades, that's the first sentence. But everybody skips it and goes to, like park and this and that, It is really why this city is growing as if there's no stop to it. There's ample water because the water literally comes out filtered, even though it has tannin in it. It looks dirty, brown, black, whatever. It's totally safe to drink. All they have to do is put some Clorox in it, and it takes the tannin off. So I was just telling them that like, I mean, yes, I find it a very beautiful thing. I mean, it's like the you have to have it in the lobby and explain not only the fact that like this is a sanctuary for birds, for this, for that, but that also if there is any development in South Florida, is thankfully for this clean water that is in abundance. One of them was, this girl came, she's like 20 years old. She's done 7 years in 2 weeks of more than 2,000 images. Scan them, put them in, label, captions, everything. And now she's going to do where they've been, each painting, which exhibit. I adore her. Yeah, it's on my website. Everything, I want to put everything on the website. Edouard Duval-Carrié, the art of Edouard Duval-Carrié.